welcome everyone to another startup and automobile documentation. What we're looking at today is a 2016 Mercedes-Benz SLK 300. This SLK class is painted in diamond white. It's got a two-tone black and bangle red interior with Nappa leather seats. It does have smart key access. On the key fob you have the buttons for lock, unlock, trunk release, and panic. Frameless windows. Storage on the door panels. It does have a premium Harman Kardon sound system. Power windows, locks, and mirrors obviously. And both front seats do have full power adjustments with 4-way power lumbar support. And you also have 3-person memory settings for both seats. But now that we're behind the wheel, let's go ahead and start the engine. In 1996, Mercedes-Benz would unveil the SLK-Class. The SLK was positioned as a compact entry-level luxury roadster to slot below the flagship SL. All in all, I'd say the SLK is a pretty appealing package, combining the luxury and class of a Mercedes with the fun driving dynamics of a sporty roadster. Despite being relatively small, Mercedes wasn't afraid of stuffing big, powerful V8 engines into the SLK, namely for the high-performance AMG variants. The SLK class again made its debut in 1996, first appearing in the US market for the 1998 model year, and ultimately was produced for 3 generations. For 2017, however, the SLK was refreshed and renamed from the SLK class to the SLC class. The model would then eventually be discontinued after 2020. This 2016 model we have here represents the SLK class's 3rd and final generation, codenamed R172, which would end up being renamed the SLC class coinciding with its refresh for 2017. The R172 was produced from model years 2012 to 2016 as the SLK class, 2017 to 2020 as the SLC class, and thus from model years 2012 to 2020 as a whole. Although 2016 was the last year for the SLK before it became the SLC, it did still get a big update for 2016, whereby the base 1.8-liter engine was replaced by a more powerful 2-liter one, complete with a new transmission and the renaming of that trim from SLK 250 to SLK 300. Anyhow, the US market 2016 model year SLK class came in 3 variants: SLK 300 as seen here with a 241 horsepower 2-liter turbo inline-4, the SLK 350 with a 302 horsepower 3.5-liter V6, and finally the Mercedes-AMG SLK 55 with its 415 horse 5.5-liter V8. The SLK 300 uses a 9-speed automatic transmission, while the 350 and the AMG SLK 55 use 7-speed automatics. Rear-wheel drive was standard. In the instrument cluster, we have 4 analog gauges, which are your tachometer, speedometer, fuel gauge, and temperature gauge. And there's also a digital info display that can be gone through via these controls on the steering wheel. Now we have our trip computer. Go down to your range, fuel consumption, eco display, etc. Under navigation, brings you your compass and the street you're on. Audio info, this allows you to change radio stations and whatnot. Bluetooth telephone info. Drive assist, as you can see. Any messages, tire pressure, that kind of stuff. And then all sorts of settings. It has a 4-spoke design, leather-wrapped, and multifunctional steering wheel. It does have sport grips. And as for controls, on this side you have your information display controls. And on this side you'll find your audio controls along with your Bluetooth controls and your voice command button. On the back of the spokes are paddle shifters to manually shift the transmission. And the steering wheel is power, tilt, and telescopic. The parking brake is electronically operated. You have your headlight switch right here, climate vent for the driver. Right here is your cruise control stalk, and right here is your wiper, high beam, and turn signal stalk. And I forgot to mention you also have power folding mirrors. But going down the center of the interior, you have your central climate vents, the display screen for your COMAND infotainment system. We'll go over the system more in a bit. From there, you'll find some physical radio and infotainment system controls, your volume knob, seat track, your CD players right here, your dial pad or presets, and then some radio, disc, navigation, telephone. These are just shortcuts for different menus in the infotainment system. But anyways, below that, you have your hazard switch, your passenger airbag indicator, auto start-stop toggle, traction control toggle. You do have 3-stage heated seats, and then you also have 3 stages of air scarf. Basically, this will blow warm air onto your neck through these vents. Especially nice if it's a cold day and you want to drive with the top down still. You can stay warm with that. 3 stages for driver and passenger seat. Then right here you have your single zone climate controls with your temperature, fan speed, and then your different zones and defrosters. Lighter and ashtray. And with this button you have 3 different modes for the transmission. E, I believe, is like a comfort mode, S for sport, and then M for manually shifting. 2 cup holders behind this cover. Now, since this is not a touchscreen, you control the COMAND infotainment system with this knob. You can scroll it, click in all the directions, and then you have your back and clear shortcut buttons. But behind this cover, you'll find a switch to lower all 4 of the windows down. And then this is the switch to power operate the convertible top. Then you have a center console. You have a power outlet in here, USB. Little storage pocket behind the seats. The glove box is lockable. Both sun visors do have vanity mirrors and lights. Auto-dimming rear view with a compass, your roadside assistance, your reading lights, and your sunglass holder. And finally, here is that COMAND infotainment system in this 2016 SLK. So like I said, not a touchscreen, but I think the knob is pretty easy to use. It is on the easier side to use, I would say, in terms of non-touch screens. But obviously it's not as simple and straightforward as a touchscreen. But nonetheless, you have your navigation with your map right here. Your traffic, there's navigation settings. Enter a destination, enter a point of interest. You can really go down to the exact type of place as well for the point of interest. And then I'm just kind of skimming over this system, but that's your navigation stuff. Radio, you got AM, FM, plus Sirius XM, plus the CD player, and then your Bluetooth audio streaming, so good amount of ways to listen to music in here. Then if we go down, you have your presets, radio info, and then your sound settings with your bass treble equalizer, that kind of stuff. Really nice having that Harman Kardon system in this thing. Then you have your Bluetooth phone stuff, and then your system settings. You can choose between either a clock or your MPG info screen. But then you can go to system settings, display settings, brightness, that kind of stuff. Turn the display off. I think I covered just most of the basics of the system, but I'm sure I probably missed a thing or two. Just a brief overview. But now, we will go ahead and lower the convertible top. Just hold this switch, all the windows go down, and it does everything automatically. You don't have to manually undo any latches or anything. And then it will chime when you can let go of the switch and it's completed. And then both of the windows are fully automatic. But anyways, with that, we'll have a look under the hood. This one rides on these 18-inch AMG 5-spoke rims, courtesy of the Sport Appearance package. The SLK 300 gets its power from the M274 2-liter turbocharged inline-4 engine. It has an aluminum block and head along with dual overhead camshafts, 4 valves per cylinder, direct injection, and variable valve timing. Horsepower is rated at 241 at 5,500 RPM, and torque is rated at 278 pound-feet from 1,200 to 4,000 RPM. Power is sent to the rear wheels via the 9G-tronic 9-speed automatic transmission with a manual mode. Running on premium unleaded with a 15.9-gallon fuel tank, EPA estimates are about 24 mpg in the city and 32 mpg on the highway. It has a McPherson strut front suspension and a multi-link rear suspension. It of course has 4-wheel disc brakes, and the front rotors are even cross-drilled. Dual exhausts. With the roof up, the trunk of the SLK class provides its maximum cargo capacity, 10.1 cubic feet. As you can see right now, the convertible top is in here. There is more space, of course, when the top is up. And as seen earlier, the fuel cap is on the passenger side. Anyhow, thanks for checking out this tour of this 2016 Mercedes-Benz SLK. And as always, stay on the lookout for future tours.